point of reference. Any volunteer to tell us what you came up with as a working definition for the word smart? Okay, so you're now making a distinction. I'm going to get down here. So intelligence, you said, is the process of effort, whereas smart is born talent. Okay. Okay. Yes, please.
Intelligence is usually associated with being more intellectual and thinking, which really goes together with what she's saying.
Okay. So this is thought. In other words, if you think enough, you become intelligent. Is that what I'm hearing? So is it an entity or is it the end of a process?
Intellectual knowledge.
So intelligence is the outgrowth of knowledge. I learn a lot and then I become intelligent. Okay. By the way, I'm not endorsing definitions right now. I'm simply recording them. Smart. Did you want to? I'm sorry.
I would say smart is very often more associated with, you could be street smart. You're never going to say someone's street intelligent. Like, they're not socially intelligent. They're
the Gemara. Yes. Okay. So being smart in that way therefore means it's a gift.
The process.
It's
application of the intelligence.
It's more practical.
Smartness.
Application of the intelligence.
Smartness is the outgrowth of the intelligence.
No, you have the intelligence. You know what to do.
I'm getting totally confused. Yes.
Like she was saying, intelligence is the facts. You know all the facts. When you go out there, you don't know what to do with it. So when you're smart, is you're applying those things and living your life. You're street smart. Is the whole idea that you're...
Okay, so my ability, application of knowledge, perhaps? Okay. Anyone else?
I think it's the opposite.
You think it's the opposite?
Intelligence,
Yes?
you are born with that.
Survey says? I'm sorry, yes. Go ahead, please.
You are born with intelligence.
You're born with intelligence.
Yes.
So this is a, let's call it a gift. In other words, this is something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu bestows upon us. Intelligence. And smart then would be?
I think the same. That
Both.
It's that you apply what you have, the knowledge that you have,
Okay.
and then you know how to apply it day by day practice.
I want to make clear, by the way, my intention was not to tell you that the two of them are necessarily different from one another. My point wasn't, it could be that they are, but my point wasn't to say you have to necessarily distinguish them as much as perhaps just define them. Please.
I think that intelligence is actually being able to apply skills, and smart is already having it, using your intelligence, being smart.
So this is application. Did I hear correctly? Application? And then this one would be?
Using your intelligence.
Okay. Is use and application are different?
I think so, because you can apply it and always use it.
Okay.
It's more like having the intelligence.
In the interest of making sure that we don't throw the entire convention schedule off, I'm going to move on. Before we do, by the way, I'm curious to know, is anyone willing to share an answer to the bottom?
Yeah.
Please.
I don't know how to play music.
Okay.
I'm not capable of music. I'm unintelligent and I can use
So your musical skill intelligence level would be, okay, where would you put, you like to sing, so you're, okay. But what about something else where you consider yourself?
I may be a writer, but I'm not, I don't.
So your writing skills, your language skills, you would say you're smart. You're a smart, so-called smart writer. We have a writing intelligence, but your musical intelligence left a long time ago and hasn't returned.
No, I can do that. I'm working on that.
You're efforting to find it. I see. Okay. Anyone else who would like to reveal in the presence of this intimate crowd their strengths or their intelligences and perhaps areas where they wish HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have given them just a little bit more? Anyone on the let's talk positive first.
Running camp, I'm doing a great job with. Filling out paperwork. Nope.
So I'm not asking for behavioral preferences. I'm not asking to see who likes to take out the trash and wash the dishes versus those who only like to take out the trash. I'm not going there. What I'm asking you is think of, let's say, areas in life, a common task, for example, that you might be asked to fulfill, or maybe at least as a student, we're asked to fulfill, that you feel you might not do such a good job at, or didn't do such a good job at, but yet, in the same context, you had another area where you excelled. And I'm not talking about skills as in, I was a great athlete. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to, for example, in the intellectual realm. In other words, I was really good verbally, and perhaps I'm a great speaker, but maybe from a mathematical perspective, I was kind of not really capable of adding 2 plus 6 and arriving at 8. Yes, please?
I'm much better at dealing with visual and tactile than auditory.
Okay, good. So those are some examples that we're going to come back to. Thank you, everybody. The brave ones, I think we need to give them a round of applause for sharing and being brave enough to do so. Here are some dictionary definitions. Okay, they may or may not kind of distinguish one another exactly. The first one talks about being smart, having or showing quick intelligence or ready mental capability. So it strikes me as somebody who has a certain quickness to them. They kind of, as we'd say, hop things relatively quickly. In conversation, they might be clever or witty. They have a good line that they'll come up with. Now, this is not the only definition of smart. There are many. I pulled just a couple that I thought were relevant to the area of education. Intelligence talks about the ability to learn or understand or to deal with new and trying situations, which is very different. It has to do with my ability to cope, my ability to process, my ability to internalize and integrate, and ultimately to arrive at an appropriate result. Now, it may not be that the definition of smart and the definition of intelligent conflict with one another, but they're not necessarily saying the same thing. So when we talk about a student being smart or intelligent, we may or may not be talking about exactly the same idea, but we are talking about, and I think this bottom one might be particularly crucial, the ability to apply knowledge and manipulate your environment to think abstractly. So we're talking about someone's capacity maybe doesn't happen immediately and it takes a couple of review sessions. Are there people in the room who feel that when they hear something the first time, it's really hard, especially if the person talks really fast like this? And then slowly but surely, over time, they hear it again, they review it, and then all of a sudden, they've got it, and they might have it better than the guy next to them. How many of you are like that? I feel I'm that way. I don't get it so well the first time necessarily. But if I hear it, and I review it, and I think about it, and I ponder what does it really mean, and I discuss it, then I've internalized it, and I might own it better than the person next to me. The question, for example, in that case, and again, we haven't really even talked about the intelligences yet, have I given, as the teacher now, a student the opportunity who needs that level of integration, review, processing, etc., that opportunity? You should know, I don't have the statistics readily in front of me, but just the idea that we speak so much faster than we have the capacity to write is one thing. If you could just walk out of this session today remembering that it takes a student so much more time to put down in some kind of reported form whatever it is